Well, gang, I got the frame back from the sandblaster, and it's delicious. So, there are some points on the frame I should probably point out to you guys. My main thing was get it sandblasted, go back and finish weld all the stuff I had tack welded. When I started this 7 years ago, oh boy, I got the 7-year itch on the welds. But there are some other things that when you're working on old cars you should look for. I'll point that out to you. But right now in the spray booth, I got my rotisserie set up. So let me get a floor jack and jockey some stuff around in here. We're going to put this frame in the rotisserie. It makes it a lot easier. When you're an old man like me, it makes life a lot easier. Because you can just spin it around, weld it. It makes it a lot easier to paint and everything. And I own it. I own the rotisserie. So we're going to use it. So give me a couple minutes. I'll get some stuff ready. We'll be right back. The trick here is going to be, doesn't matter if the frame is whatever way, but to find that sweet spot, and I got to make brackets to go on the rotisserie that bolt to the chassis, so the frame may be like, there may be brackets like this or however, but to find that sweet spot where she's perfectly centered, and you'll be able to spin that thing with one finger if it's balanced. For the car frame, I don't care. I just want it to spin around, even if I got to and lock it in place. Because I just want to be able to weld nice and easy, sitting on my stool, do what I got to do some body work. I'm out of breath. I'm an old man. And yeah, that's it. So let me go ahead and kind of get this thing stabilized so it doesn't fall and break a toe. And we'll start making up those brackets and get it bolted to the rotisserie. Alright gang, well I got this thing up and I got some angle iron and stuff all set up, bolted to the chassis and C-clamped to the rotisserie, and it's not going to be perfectly balanced, but like I say, for what I'm doing, I can muscle it around to do what I got to do and get it done. So we'll see how we got it, and that's good, man. That makes life a lot easier for me to do the work. So I'm going to go ahead and crank the old MIG welder up to 11 and glue this thing together. I wasn't going to cut this down. I just got to make sure I don't knock my teeth out. But yeah, she's all bolted up, welded together, and you know, I might have to oomph it here and there, but it's pretty cool to be able to work this way. Just spin this bad boy around, and there you go. Makes life a lot easier. And I would like to show you guys some stuff. The stuff that I did 7 years ago before I discovered I could post these little episodes and spots on YouTube. And I'll break the camera off. I'll bring it over there. I'll show you some of the stuff I got to weld up. And some of the stuff you should look for. Because this is a 50 Oldsmobile chassis. And it's what, 72 years old? You know, it's got some issues. You know, it's like my hip hurts. That's got some broken stuff on it. So I'll go ahead, I'll grab the camera, I'll show you what we got. Now right here, guys, Ed had cut this all open and dropped it down because the engine in the car, he moved it back and lowered it. So this is what he did to make a relief for the lower crankshaft pulleys and stuff. And obviously I welded up what I could, and I still haven't gotten to, I got to finish this weld along the back here and stuff. Some of the things I want to point out, I'll zoom in on it, but right in this corner and over here, there were welds, but the frame is cracked. Right here you can see real good where there was a weld and it cracked. So I don't know if they were off-roading with this or not, but right here off camera there's a rivet. And you know, and it's riveted underneath, so it wouldn't go anywhere. But when you're doing an old car like this, you get this stuff sampled. You know, a lot of guys like the old patina on stuff, and then they go ahead and, you know, just drop a motor in here, never noticing if this is cracked or not. I like to do body off chassis. You know, I like to do the heavy work. So to find something like this, I'm just going to go ahead and relieve it, open it up a little bit, and give a nice clean new buzz weld right in there. Right here, where the rear axle stabilizing bar goes, Ed had just cut this big chunk out, and when he narrowed the chassis, like right here, you see I got to finish weld this up, weld it along in here and everything. But he just took this, stuck it in and welded it. I put a piece of plate steel back here for where this is welded, and I rosette welded it on the back side. So that's just like another one of those things I just got to do the finish up welding and stuff on that. Now there's a host of other little spots I got to weld up, things that I had done. I'd like to put a reinforcing plate on this, even though Ed didn't have it. I know the abuse these show cars take, bouncing around in a car trailer. You know, an example, the Rotisserie, and that thing disintegrated going from show to show. So I'd like to get that tightened up. Like I said, finish this up. I got some stuff back here I got to weld. There's lots of little spots and things like that. There's a couple of cracks over here on the chassis I see just now. I got to address those. It's not like I'm driving this thing, but my OCD kicks in, and I really would like to just take care of it. Even if it's just an ugly weld, it's better than leaving it the way it is. So that's what I got. I'm going to get this bad boy set up. I'm going to roll it back in the paint booth because I got lots of light back there to work. And I can work on this a little bit here and there, and then I can work on the body out here in the main shop area because we're trying to, you know, trying to get this job done. So, yeah, let me get this back there and start welding and make some coffee. Well, gang, it pretty much does it. You can see by all the burn marks on the chassis that I've been all over the whole thing. I didn't wrote my name in the back. Nobody will see it when the car is built, but so many people rob other people's credit. I got my fail-safe, you know? But I did find some cracks that concern me right on top of the frame here where the upper A-frame backslash shocks go. And I'll point that out to you. Now I hope it comes up on the camera, but you can just see that crack right there. And there's maybe, I'm just noticing now, another little bit of one right over here on the other side. You can't, it's off camera. Let me, this is not going to be very professional, but let me do this. Here we go. There's another crack I'm noticing right over here. It's not so bad, but it's there. This one here, that looks like it's got some oomph to it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut that open with the Whizzy wheel, and I'm going to put some weld on it. And then I can grind it flush, and I'll take care of the other one too. And I'll look and make sure all around these are good, because I don't want to have this thing bouncing in the car trailer, you know, up and down, bouncing, and have it rip this even worse. So I'm going to address this and take care of it now. Alright gang, you can see by all the shiny spots that I've been grinding on some welds. And Ed only cleaned up or dressed off the welds pretty much from like, I don't know, here forward. So that's what I'm going to do. I had to take this and knock it and bend it down on the radiator supports and give it a little weld. Now, Ed didn't do a whole lot of molding, if you will, on the frame. But I have something Ed didn't have to deal with. When Ed built the Beatnik Bandit in 1960, this was a 10-year-old chassis. It was really clean. I'll show you on the side of the frame rail, I got some pitting and stuff. And I'd like it to be, you know, a high build primer ain't going to fill them. So I'm going to do a nice coat of body filler and DA it down. It'll fill them, and then the primer will probably take care of it. But in here, where I kind of hodgepodged it together, you know, Ed Big Daddy Rock is kind of my hero for building the bubble top stuff. It's just crazy off the wall. You're not going to be able to drive that stuff, but it's really, when you're a little kid, it's really cool to look at. And I'd like to represent and present my hero better than he actually was. You can see the welds in this pocket where he moved the motor back and dropped it down, and this is where the harmonic balancer crankshaft pulley goes. You can see some of the welds in there. I'm going to go ahead and dress this off with some body filler and make it look nice. Same as like right here, I'm going to put a little bit of a finger swipe there where some of the weld edges and stuff are, and clean it up, make it look nice. Let me show you the side of the frame rail. So on the side of the frame rail here, I had a shortened frame, and I cut it right here. And I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 rosette welds for the piece of steel I put behind here. And then the frame, because it tapered like this, didn't meet up. So I had to do some cutting and moving of this lower section of the frame. And that goes from about here, to about here. It's a pretty big stretch. So I'm just going to put a lot of body filler right across here and clean it up and make it look nice. Like I said, I can feel some low spots and stuff in here. But Ed just, like all these holes here, Ed left them. Now when I did the Roswell rod, not that you were ever going to see it, and I don't know why I did this, I molded the whole car frame. It looked badass, but you can only see it from here forward, really. And some guys would kind of sub their head underneath and realize I pinstriped the rear axle, the whole chassis, and everything. Again, Ed only pinstriped from here forward. The stub here for the steering, Ed had a big hydraulic, so this was pretty much probably mounted over here for Ed. I had it mounted here for the linear screw motor I'm using. But Ed just left this all kind of welded and gacked up. I'm going to go ahead and give it a finger flush of body filler and clean that up and make it look nice too. And I'll zoom in on this here so I can show you. You can see all the pitting that's in here. Because what was here was, this is where the fender well came along. There's a line of holes here, and they held a piece of rubber in place. It was an anti-squeak rubber, so the fender well wouldn't rub on it. And so there's moisture got in there and they got pits and everything. This is something else. Ed didn't have this because, you know, it was a relatively new frame, so I'm going to put a nice tight coat of body filler and just DA it all down. All these little screw holes Ed left, so I'm going to leave them too. I'm real happy with a lot of the stuff I've got here and the way it came out. So let's go ahead and mix up some body filler and start spreading some mud. Well, that's it. I'm just reaming out these holes that I'm going to leave in the side of the frame rail, like Ed did. And that's it. So I got it all mudded up, both sides, and the front cross member for the suspension. And I'll just let this sit overnight. I'll come out here after work tomorrow and run the DA over this. I'll have to finger do all the stuff like this and probably inside that little pocket for the harmonic balancer. So, all right, man. Like I always say, it'll be a few seconds for you, but it'll be overnight and after work for me. So I'll see you guys then. All right, gang. I got this thing, the spray roof cleaned out. I'm going to blow this thing off, try to get all my body dust off of it, and all the sand that may still be in the nook and cranny, like it in the schmuppin from the sandblast guy, and then we'll start blowing some primer on this bad boy. I've got the sides done. I don't know if you can see that in the camera there. And I'm doing the artwork now. It's on the front course member. It's a bit of a pain in the butt. There are these 3 circles. Doing a circle, I'm not that great at some of this, so I did the best I could. It looks good. And if you look real close, since the original Beatnik Bandit was restored by Harris back in, I think that was the early 80s, all the pinstriping and everything was redone, if I'm not mistaken. So it's pretty nice now. But if you look at some of Ed's early original work, it's probably just as good or on comparison as mine. A little shaky here and there. And I haven't picked up a brush for a while, so I'm kind of cutting my teeth again. But we're at it. I'm using Scotch tape. That's good for when you put it at the very end of the line, so when you pull it, you don't get that blunt kind of puddle. And you'll see that when I come up close and show you what I'm doing here. But right now, I'll show you. I'm using a Mac 1010 00. I don't know if you guys can see that. And if you really want to learn anything about pinstriping, there's a bunch of guys have a whole bunch of different videos, VHS tapes if you're still sporting a VCR and stuff. But I have a series on YouTube here also if you want to go check it out. With pinstripers, these guys actually make a living at it. Not like me, I'm just goofing off. Yeah, it's the Pinstriper interview series. And I got a bunch of guys there, Alex in Wonderland, Gary the Local Brush, Scal from Scal Graphics, and Shane Six from Ohio. So yeah, give that a peek if you really want to pick up some pinstriping information and stuff. And everyone's got a different way, everyone's got a different technique. There is no wrong way, whatever gets the job done right. So enough of the commercial. Let me palette up this brush over here. Let's get going. Well, the paint I'm using is Alpha Enamel, Alpha 6. Really good stuff. As far as I'm concerned, this is way better than One Shot. And if you're at a car show and you're banging out working wet on wet, this stuff dries a lot quicker and it really works good on the brush. You should call them up, look them up online, and try this stuff. It's really good stuff. So I'm going to go ahead and get this paletted up. And we'll get over there and start making some groovy little lines. the way Ed did it. You guys can refer to your Hot Rods by Ed Big Daddy Roth book, and I guess some of those pictures might show the striping, and looks pretty good. I'm happy with it. I'll pop that camera off and I'll give it a once around to show you guys up close what I did. All right, so here you go, guys. This is all my hard, thick, heavy white line handiwork, because that's what striping was like back in the day. And it's how Ed did his. I'll come around here to the side. I got that little whoop-de-doo in the front there. Now, like I had said, I got some artistic license here because that little pod for the steering was actually over here, and the pinstriping on it was actually on top. But hey, at least I incorporated it. A little artistic license there. It's not an exact clone, and I don't know if Ed had these lines go all the way up the side. I figured, what the hey, I went ahead and did it that way anyhow. We'll come around the other side. And like I said, I like it. It looks right. And every time you do a little something like this, a little something extra, it keeps looking like the real car. And I think that's pretty neat. Well, there you go, guys. I guess that's it. Like I said, every time you do a little something more that gets you toward finish, it looks more and more and more like the real deal, like Ed's Beatnik Bandit. So, I guess that's an episode. You know, we went from sandblasting the frame to bodywork to primer to paint. They're doing some really thick, old-school pinstripes. And that's it. If you get the time, if you can, check out my website, spritzbyfritz.com. Pick up a mug, a couple decals, stickers, a patch, a t-shirt or something, maybe a DVD if you want. And don't forget to subscribe to this channel, like the episode, and if you want to learn anything else about pinstriping, like I said, go through my video and episode list, and I've got a couple episodes here and there about interviewing with pinstripers who do this for a living. You might pick up a couple tricks and tips. Maybe that guy's in your neighborhood. You can maybe try and contact them and learn firsthand from somebody. I know Shane Six in Dayton, Ohio does classes. So that's it. Please check out my website. Check out patreon.com/spritzbyfritz. That's another good way to support the cause. And Alpha 6 Enamel, the pinstriping paint. Great company, great stuff. I wouldn't push it if I didn't like it. So that's it. That's all I've got. Thank you for sticking with me through this whole crazy build of the Beatnik Bandit clone and all the other stupid stuff I do. Thanks for watching. And that's it. I guess I'll catch you guys next episode. See you next time.